Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of From the Cove with Quinn Thomas. Now, I have to start this out with an apology. In the first episode, I said I was going to be doing one of these before/after every single series, and after one episode, I already missed one. Things just got away from me with work and then school, and I wasn't able to do one. But I am here now, and we're going to do double the action. We're going to cover the Rockies series and the Cardinals series. Now, a little bit of a disclosure, I'm quite bitter right now in the sense that I had high hopes of after I finished my homework tonight, I would be able to sit back, relax, and watch some good sports. When I'm taping this, it's Sunday night. We still have the Giants-Cardinals game going on, and we also have a Suns-Mavericks Game 7 going on. Unfortunately, both of these games are blowouts. Now, am I really upset that the Suns are losing? No, I'm a Warriors fan. Don't really want to see the Suns in the semis. Now, doesn't look like I want to see the Mavericks either, but I kind of was hoping for a good game there. Now, I mean, if anything, I thought it would be the Suns that were running away from it, but as I'm recording this, the score is currently 87-48 Mavericks. I didn't see this coming. I've actually got a buddy that's a Suns fan, and I just DM'd him on Instagram saying, you want to talk about this? You want to talk about Booker's 9 points in 31 minutes, or CP3's 3 points and 2 assists in 26 minutes? I know this isn't a basketball podcast, but good lord, that's bad. Not only is that bad, but currently, as I'm talking, the Giants are losing 13-2 on Sunday Night Baseball. What a way to start the season in the national spotlight, but a 13-2 blowout when you've got your best pitcher on the mound. Carlos Rodon only gave up 10 hits and 8 runs over 3 2/3, but oh well. I digress from my mini rant of being deprived of some good sporting games, and let's talk about some good stuff and some bad. It's never only good on this. We're going to talk about everything. A little bit of a rundown of what we're going to do today. We're going to go in through the Rockies series, those 3 wins there. Then we'll talk a little bit about the Cardinals series as well, and we'll preview another Rockies series. It's really weird. It's a really weird schedule right now, because we just played 4 against the Cardinals, and then 3 against the Rockies, and 3 against the Cardinals, and now we're going to go play the Rockies again. So, interesting schedule. I mean, we're definitely getting familiar with these teams. It'll be good to go to Coors again and maybe get our offense right after the last 2 nights. So, without any further ado, let's jump into a series recap. Now, my setup for this episode is a little bit different than it was in the first episode. I've actually got my professional lighting here and there, if you're watching this. If not, I'm on camera. This will all be uploaded to YouTube. I've got an actual microphone. The first episode I did recording into my phone just because I wanted to get an episode out. But this, we've got a professional studio-like setup. If you're listening, I did studio in air quotes because it's my bedroom. But let's get into some Rockies Giants. Starting Monday, May 9th. I know I'm a week behind, but Monday, May 9th. Carlos Rodon pitched. Carlos Rodon pitched very well. Once again, the guy, it's really, I don't like giving my take on Carlos Rodon right now. He went 6 innings, 2 earned runs, while striking out 12. He was red hot. He was incredible. He was the most dominant pitcher in the league. Not only that, but he had the most dominant pitch in the league with that 4-seam fastball. I think metrics that I saw today, Sunday, showed that was the best pitch in baseball in terms of whiff percentage. So, Rodon pitched amazing. Giants offense started to heat up a little bit. Slater, 2 hits. Mauricio Dubon, 3 hits, including a home run. We're going to talk about Dubon later. Yastrzemski, Flores each got a hit. Darren Ruff got 2 hits. Again, Darren Ruff looks like he is working himself out of this slump. Other than that, it was a good 8-5 win by the Giants over the Rockies. And yeah, there's not much to report on this game. 8-5, good start from Rodon, and then some good offensive performances as well. Really, the one that stood out there was Mauricio Dubon and Austin Slater. Let's move into Tuesday, May 10th. It's another win over the Rockies. Giants won 9-2. This was a start by Alex Wood, who went 5 1/3. giving up 7 hits, striking out 4, and walking 2. Only giving up 1 run, and it was unearned. So he brought his ERA down to a 3.6. Now, this game brought the return. I am lying. It did not bring the return. I was going to say it brought the return of Evan Longoria, but it did not. What it did do is... What did it do? I thought there was some story in this game. See, this is what happens when I skip an episode and I don't get to like do the 3-game or the 4-game series all in one episode, and I have to like pull back a week. Oh well. Yeah. I think the one thing I do want to talk about with this game is Luis Gonzalez. Luis Gonzalez went 2 for 2, and at the time he brought his average up to a 327 batting average. He's just been such a shot in the arm for the Giants. He is playing. He's having good at-bats. He's got a really good arm in the outfield, good speed, good decisions on the base paths. He's reminding me a lot of what Lamont Wade Jr. was when he came up last season. He gives you good at-bats. He takes pitches, he's clutch, he hits the ball hard, and he's batting 327. That's no fluke right there. That is no fluke. So yeah, Giants win 9-2 over the Rockies on Tuesday, May 10th. And they pushed that winning streak up even further. I think this brought them to a 4-game win streak. And if you recall from the last episode, I said that this series against the Rockies, was one that the Giants really needed to sweep. A sweep is hard to get by all standards, but the fact that they had just gone through a 5-game losing streak, the Dodgers and the Padres were both playing well, you felt like the Giants really needed to solidify themselves as a top tier team again. So when the Rockies, who were playing well, came into this series, like you wanted to see them kind of assert their dominance a little bit, and that's exactly what they did. Their offense showed out. Their pitching was solid. It wasn't great. The bullpen wasn't great in Game 1, but we're gonna move on to Game 3 here, which was the Wednesday day game, where the Giants won 7-1 behind Alex Cobb. Alex Cobb struck out 6 over 5 1/3. He looks like he's back. He only gave up 3 hits, 1 run. It was earned. But he struck out 6. His ERA is down to a 3.98 now. He just looked dominant again. His stuff looks really, really good. He's got really good movement and velocity on the sinker, mixed with that splitter, and then throwing in that knuckle curve every now and then. He's a good 5 guy in the rotation. It's hard to complain about Alex Cobb. Now, the storyline from this game, other than the fact that the Giants completed the sweep, like I said, they needed to, and they should. Evan Longoria returned. He made his 2022 debut, and it was terrible. I mean, what do you expect? The guy comes back. It's his first time back in the lineup and actually playing a major league game since October. He struck out 3 times. He's going to take some time to get his timing back. He struck out 3 times and left 9 guys on base. So he was instantly inserted into the 3 spot. I think Kapler should reconsider that until he gets his timing and swing back a little bit. But regardless of that, it was great to see Longoria back on the field. He's just it gives the Giants so many more options. When Longoria's in the lineup, it means you don't have to rely so heavily on a Wilmer Flores to play defense at third base or what have you. So it just allows some more flexibility. So it's good to have him back. Hopefully he'll start to pick it up soon. This game saw a 3-for-4 game from Lamont Wade Jr., including a walk. Brandon Crawford hit his 3rd home run of the season, and the Giants won 7-1, completed the sweep. That brings us to an off day. I was going to say, I don't know if I want to do both these series recaps back-to-back, or if I want to do a series recap and then kind of cut away. Scratch that. You know what? Let's just go through it. Let's just go through it while we're talking about games. Let's go through it it was a good game. It was Friday night's game. First game in St. Louis. The Giants just came off a really cold homestand, and they land in St. Louis, and it's 90 degrees. So definitely different from what they expected. But they came out and they beat the Cardinals 8-2. Now this was a Logan Webb game. He still doesn't have his good stuff. You're not seeing him be that dominant, top 5 National League pitcher right now. That being said, Logan Webb is 5-1. He is 5-1 with a 3.48 ERA, and he has not had his best stuff really all season. He's had 2 good starts where he was dominant, right? But he didn't really have the strikeout numbers that we were accustomed to seeing last year. So while he's been pitching like a good pitcher, one of those guys that can toe the rubber every 5th day and battle through whatever he needs to battle through. Smart pitch decisions, pitching or throwing strikes. He did walk 3, but throwing strikes, kind of battling through what he's got and just getting guys out. He struck out 1 guy in 6 innings, but only gave up 1 run. So if he still hasn't, he's gonna eventually get his good stuff. And once he does, that combined with what he's learned in this stretch where he hasn't had it is going to make for a pretty good pitcher. And we already know what Logan Webb can do when he's on. And I feel like this stretch where he's not on is only going to make him better down the line. So I'm liking what I'm seeing from Logan Webb, even though his stuff isn't there. It will come. I'm not worried about it. I'm not really worried about anybody on the Giants specifically. Actually, well, we'll get into Sunday's game, but this game also saw another good performance out of the pen from Dominic Leone, as well as Zach Littell. Yarlene Garcia is who I wanted to talk about. Yarlene Garcia got the one inning. It wasn't a save situation, but he continued his scoreless inning streak this year. Has not allowed an earned run this season. He did allow the walk-off hit to Lindor in New York in that first game of that doubleheader. But other than that, Yarlene Garcia has been one of the better relievers in the National League, and definitely our team. So that's great to see. It's always good to have a good lefty out of the pen that can get both lefties and righties out. Moving on to the offense, they scored 8 runs. We won 8-2. Lamont Wade Jr. with 2 walks and a run. His OPS is off the charts right now. At the end of this game, it was a 1083 OPS, which was incredible. Speaking of OPS, Austin Slater up with an 857, who ended up pinch hitting for him and drawing a walk. Brandon Belt is in the lineup. He's not hot right now, but what's interesting about Brandon Belt is usually we see him go through these streaks where he is the best hitter on the planet or the worst hitter on the planet. And right now he's somewhere in the middle. And you know what? If he's going to still have those streaks, we'll take his slumps, I guess if we're going to call it, as what they are and deal with him going 1 for 5. That is an okay thing because you know Brandon Belt, every at-bat, whether he's on or whether he's not, he's going to take pitches, he's going to draw walks, he's going to produce good at-bats. And he's been doing that still. Mike Yastrzemski also had a hit in this game with 2 RBIs. And Kurt Casale with the big hit of the game, a home run, which was good for Kurt to get back into the home run column. It was his first of the year. Yeah, I mean, that's basically it for the Friday game. Giants won 8-2. They pinned a loss on Jordan Hicks, who is a filthy pitcher. Anytime you've got a starter that's throwing over 100 consistently, with the kind of movement that you see out of Jordan Hicks, he will be good. And if the Cardinals figure out a way to keep that guy healthy, he could be a force in this league for a good while to come. All right, let's move on to the Saturday game. Giants got shut out 4-0. Now here's where we're going to go into a little bit of some bad, right? Right before this game, the Giants, it came out that Mauricio Dubon was traded to Houston for a minor league catcher. We'll talk more about that deal in the transactions portion of this episode. But for now, we can talk about the game itself. Giants lost 4-0, but had 8 hits. They just couldn't get that big hit. I remember they had the bases loaded for Brandon Belt, who grounded into a double play, which ended the inning. Belt did have 2 hits. He went 2 for 4. Lamont Wade 2 for 5. He's hitting 353. Let's see what else. Jock Peterson's been in a slump. We talked about this last episode. I'm not really worried about Jock Peterson because he's still taking good at-bats. He just if he barrels anything up at any point, it's good chance of leaving the park and doing some damage with it. So not too worried about Jock Peterson there. Luis Gonzalez continues to mash. He brought his average up this game to a 339, raised his OPS to an 832. It was good to see. Honestly, one thing you just want to look for the Giants in these losses is that they're still taking good at-bats, drawing walks, which they only drew 4 in this game, and that might be one of the issues, but they had 8 hits. Eventually, if you have 8 hits in a game, it's not always going to lead to 0 runs scored. In terms of pitching this game, Jacob Junis went 5 2/3 and gave up 2 runs. You'll take that every single time. John Brebbia gave up 2 runs in an inning and a third, which raises his ERA to a 2.35. A little bit more on Jacob Junis. It's interesting because he started the season in the minor leagues, and he's come up a few times in these bullpen games, pitching like just kind of eating up some innings. But he's had 2 starts back-to-back, and both starts have been quality starts. And if you're going to get that as your emergency starter or your fill-in starter, you will take that. And that's going to be recipe for his success. Because as we've talked about on this show, 162 games is impossible to get through with only 5 starters. So if you include DeSclafani, the Giants have 6 starters right now that have proved themselves on the major league level. DeSclafani is the only one that hasn't had a good start this year. But, I mean, you've got Webb, Rodon, assuming both of those guys continue to figure it out. Rodon, I'm only saying continue to figure it out because of what's going on as we speak. It did not look good today, and we're going to talk about that right now. Okay, so since the start of this episode, the Cardinals have scored 2 more runs, and they now lead the Giants 15-2. We're not going to spend a lot of time on this game. The one thing we're going to talk about is Rodon, and he looked terrible. He was getting hit very hard. He gave up the first home run he's given up this year, which you don't want to see. But at the same time, guys are going to have bad starts. It's just going to happen. And look, he gave up a home run to Goldschmidt on the first pitch. He gave up a few first pitch hits. It's the first time this season that's really happened. We'll see how he bounces back. 15-2 isn't what you want to see ever. But there are going to be games where we get blown out, and there are going to be games where the Giants do the blowing out. So you just kind of take this one on the chin and look to bounce back. It just sucks that this was in the rubber game of a matchup on a Sunday, especially on a nationally televised game. Actually, one thing I do want to talk about before I hopped onto this, I started this episode, I saw a Twitter from Alex Pavlovich. A tweet from Alex Pavlovich saying, a quote from an ESPN commentator, because the game is being broadcast on ESPN. Quote, "They've had some folks kind of refer to them as the Oakland Raiders of Major League Baseball." Is this about the Giants? Now, I stopped watching the game at this point because I've been doing some stuff. I don't get it. First of all, they're not the Oakland Raiders don't exist. It's the Las Vegas Raiders now, but that's kind of a nitpicky thing. How are they like the Raiders? The Raiders, when you think of their stereotypes, we're not going to talk too much about football, but we think about their stereotypes. It's guys getting arrested. It's bad draft picks. You draft guys that are just fast and no other qualifications except for that. Going 8-8, 7-9, trading away good players. I don't really see the comparison. The Giants didn't leave San Francisco. The Giants won 3 championships in 5 years. The Giants have been able to largely keep their core around them through this dynasty, or through that dynasty, and like kind of bridge the gap to the next championship window team. Like, they never traded away Buster Posey or Brandon Crawford, Brandon Belt. Like, I don't get how anybody could call them the Oakland Raiders. It doesn't make sense. It really, really doesn't. I don't. Oh well. It's. We're gonna end this game right now. It's middle of the 8th inning, and the Giants are losing 15-2. So we're going to go ahead and say that they lost this game. If they end up coming back and winning, I will be sure to update you before the end of this episode. But you probably have already heard about that, because that would be one hell of a comeback. So let's switch gears from talking about a series recap. You know, overall this week was solid. The Giants went 4-3. They swept the Rockies and lost 2 out of 3 against the Cardinals. Now the Giants now play Colorado. They go to Colorado. So we're going to go ahead and preview that series starting now. All right, so we're going to go ahead and flush this Sunday game very quickly and move on and talk about another Rockies series. We just played the Rockies, didn't we? Yes, we did, but now we're in Colorado. So our probables for this series, it's Alex Wood, Alex Cobb, and Logan Webb. And they'll be matching up, respectively, against Antonio Senzatella, Chad Kuhl, and Kyle Freeland, a guy who just came off a pretty good contract extension. The one game I am really looking at is Logan Webb. I want to see how he does. You know, I don't think he'll have his best stuff again. I think he's still going to be working through that for a few more starts. But he's 5-1 with a 3.48. So I think pitching in Colorado is going to be a good test for him when he doesn't have that good stuff to continue to develop as a big league star pitcher that's going to have to fight through some of these times throughout his career. And fighting through a series, a game in Coors Field is really tough for a pitcher. So I think it's going to be pretty telling on where Logan Webb is at mentally, more so than it will be telling where he is at physically. But this is another series the Giants need to take advantage of. Now, the Rockies are much better at home than they are on the road, and the Giants have seen that. There have been many times the Giants have gone to Colorado expecting and needing a sweep or at least a 2 out of 3 win, 2 out of 3 games. But that doesn't always mean it happens. The Rockies have given the Giants fits. So this is an important 3-game series. Get in, get out with your 3 wins, and then prepare for the weekend series against, who are they playing? They're playing, the Padres at home. So get in, get out, score as many runs as possible. Try to get your offense right. Try to get certain guys on the offense right. Evan Longoria specifically, he's coming back off an injury, so you want to see him start to get at least some hard contact on the ball, and Colorado's a great place to do it. Another thing is Tommy La Stella should be back in this series in Colorado, depending on how his reevaluation goes. That should be happening on Monday. So provided he is cleared to play, expect to see him in Colorado. Expect some high-scoring games, and expect the Rockies to play much better than they did last week in Oracle. That's pretty much all I've got for the Rockies preview. I don't think we will be seeing Kris Bryant in this series. Let me just double-check on that. I think he's still recovering. Let's see. Injury update on Kris Bryant. It does look like Kris Bryant could join the team the following series against the Mets, so the Giants will likely not see him this week, which, could be a good thing for them, honestly, especially with Alex Wood taking the ball in Game 1. We know Bryant hits lefties significantly better than righties, so they may have dodged a bullet there, but we won't get to see him in the Rockies uniform quite yet. That will happen likely later on in the season. Provided they don't trade him. I don't know. The Rockies are just a weird team. Who knows what their plans are, why they signed Kris Bryant, but I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here. Yeah, this is a series the Giants should at least win, if not sweep, and I'm interested to see how they bounce back after this shellacking they're getting Sunday night right now. So that's going to be enough of the Rockies preview. Let's get into some transactions that happened over the last week. All right, let's talk about the transactions that we saw the Giants make over the last week. And actually, just a quick side note, as I was pulling up this transactions list, I saw the number 1 headline for the Giants on their website, and it literally said tough start for Rodon. I was like, yes, we can talk about that. He gave up 8 runs, but the 8 runs that he gave up in today's start are more than he had given up in his first 6 starts of the season combined. Wow. I think he'll bounce back. He's too good of a pitcher not to. All right, so moving into the transactions. The Giants recalled Jacob Junis. We saw a good start from him, actually 2 good starts from him over the last week. And they optioned Gregory Santos back to AAA. That's going to happen quite a bit this season. They also traded for Donovan Walton, who's a second baseman. Just kind of adds more depth to the Giants. It just adds more depth to the Giants roster, both on AAA and Major League Baseball. So that was cool to see. They immediately optioned him down to AAA and activated Evan Longoria, who we saw come back. He didn't look good, but that's kind of to be expected. Then they placed Jake McGee on the 15-day injured list. They also traded Mike Ford back to the Mariners for cash. The Giants and the Mariners have a really good friendship going. They just keep trading guys back and forth. We traded for Mike Ford. then traded him back after we designated him for assignment. That was interesting. Tyler Beatty, we talked about how he was finally DFA'd by the Giants, and he got claimed by the Pittsburgh Pirates, kind of joining a lot of former Giants top prospects in Pittsburgh. Most noticeably, Brian Reynolds is there now. So we wish Tyler Beatty the best of luck. I hope he can kind of resurrect his career there at 28. He'll have plenty of opportunity to do so. Another trade with the Mariners. The Giants acquired Stuart Fairchild in return for second baseman Alex Blandino. A lot of Giants fans weren't super happy about that trade. They like Alex Blandino, but that isn't the last trade we're going to talk about that has some people not super stoked with Farhan right now. So once they got Fairchild, they optioned him to AAA. Then the Giants called up Donovan Walton for that Saturday game against the Cardinals. He hit a double, which was great to see. Saturday was the news of the big trade, and that's when the Giants traded Mauricio Dubon to the Astros for Michael, please forgive me if I get this wrong, Papierski. I don't know. Dubon has been growing on me for the last 2 years. I think he's a great locker room guy, and he'd actually been going through a hot streak. Now, this makes absolute sense when you think about it from a general manager perspective. Mauricio Dubon was out of options, so they couldn't send him down. If they tried to, they would have had to designate him for assignment, and then he would have had to clear waivers. Likely that wouldn't have happened. You may then ask, well, why would they have been trying to send him down? He's been playing better. Well, think about how stacked the Giants roster is. Dubon plays second base, shortstop, sometimes third base, and center field. The Giants are about to get Tommy La Stella back from the injured list, and so that would make them kind of cut the roster down again. So with that on the horizon, they made the decision that they were likely going to be sending Mauricio Dubon down. So instead of, just based off what the needs were for the team, you don't want to send Luis Gonzalez down. He's been playing really well, and also he is. They may end up sending him down anyway, but he's an outfielder, so you got to look at infielders to send down. Mauricio Dubon was going to be that guy, and he has no options. So you trade him for a catcher who does have options, and then you kind of build your depth in the infield around guys that do have options. Luke Williams comes to mind. Donovan Walton comes to mind. He's going to have options available. So it makes sense. It's upsetting because Mauricio Dubon grew up a Giants fan, always dreamed of playing for the Giants, idolized Brandon Crawford. But he's going to Houston where he's going to be in a good situation, hopefully get some playing time, and hopefully continue to develop his big league career because he's fun to watch, and I wish him nothing but the best. It was sad to see, but it was kind of a move that Farhan and the Giants needed to make. So today, the Giants recalled Junior Marte from Sacramento, and they optioned Donovan Walton down. Likely, you're going to see Junior Marte get sent down again a couple times this season. But that's it in terms of transactions. In terms of injury updates, we already talked about Tommy La Stella should be returning this next series against Colorado, which will be great to see. More depth. Thairo Estrada has earned a lot of playing time, so expect to see Estrada get his fair share of playing time at second base. But also expect to see La Stella get worked back into that lineup against righties, as he is a very good hitter with very good at-bats, and that's what the Giants like to see. And he's a veteran, so it's really hard to knock him there. That's going to pretty much conclude everything for this episode of From the Cove with Quinn Thomas. I hope you are all enjoying this. If you would like to interact, this will now be uploaded to YouTube, so feel free to comment, rate this podcast on your favorite podcast app, and find me on Twitter at QT_Quinn Thomas. Thank you so much. Have a great day.